There's a common belief that long, elaborate prayers are the most effective. While deep, extended prayer has its place, the truth is that even the shortest prayers hold incredible power. In moments of crisis, when words fail, or when time is short, a simple prayer can bring peace, strength, and divine intervention. Throughout history, countless lives have been changed by just a few words spoken in faith. Whether it's a call for guidance, a request for help, or an expression of gratitude, short prayers remind us that God is always near, listening, and ready to respond. Prayer is often misunderstood. Many people think that for a prayer to be effective, it must be long, complex, and filled with deep theological language. But the truth is, prayer is not about the number of words you speak. It's about the sincerity and faith behind those words. A short prayer, even a single sentence, can be just as powerful as a long, elaborate one. Imagine a child calling out to a parent. The child doesn't need to recite a well-prepared speech to get their parent's attention. A simple "help me" or "I need you" is enough for a loving parent to respond immediately. In the same way, God does not require us to impress Him with our words. He simply wants us to connect with Him. The power of prayer is in the relationship, not the length. In moments of crisis, when fear and anxiety grip your heart, you don't always have time to pray for 10 or 15 minutes. Sometimes all you can say is, "Lord, help me," and that's enough. A short prayer, spoken from the heart, carries the weight of faith, and faith is what moves mountains. The length of your prayer doesn't determine its effectiveness. Your belief does. There are many stories of people who experienced miraculous breakthroughs because of short prayers. A person on the verge of a car accident who cries out, "God save me," and walks away unharmed. A student facing an overwhelming exam who whispers, "Give me wisdom," and finds clarity in their thoughts. A mother watching over a sick child who softly says, "Heal them," and sees recovery take place. These moments prove that a short prayer, filled with faith, can shift situations instantly. Short prayers are also powerful because they keep us connected to God throughout the day. Many people think of prayer as something they do only in the morning or before bed, but the truth is, prayer can be a constant conversation with God. When you wake up, you can say, "Thank you for this day." When you're feeling stressed at work, you can say, "Give me peace." When you're about to have a difficult conversation, you can ask, "Give me the right words." These short prayers create an ongoing relationship with God, keeping your mind and heart aligned with His presence. One of the most amazing aspects of short prayers is that they strip away all distractions. When you don't have time to overthink, your words become more direct, raw, and real. You're not trying to sound impressive. You're simply speaking from the depths of your heart. And God responds to authenticity. A prayer like, "I trust you," can be more powerful than a 10-minute prayer filled with uncertain words. Many times, people avoid praying because they feel they don't have the right words or enough time. They think they have to follow a structure or use formal language. But Jesus Himself taught that prayer is about connection, not performance. In fact, some of the most powerful prayers in the Bible were incredibly short. When Peter was sinking in the water, he didn't give a long speech. He simply cried out, "Lord, save me." And Jesus immediately reached out His hand. When the blind man Bartimaeus wanted healing, he didn't give a theological argument. He simply said, "Jesus, have mercy on me," and his sight was restored. These moments show that short prayers are not a sign of weakness or lack of spirituality. They are a demonstration of faith. Another beautiful thing about short prayers is that they remove the pressure of getting everything right. Sometimes we don't know what to pray for. We may be overwhelmed with emotions, unsure of what to say. But in those moments, even a simple, "God, I need you," is enough. Short prayers remind us that we don't have to have everything figured out before we come to God. He meets us where we are, no matter how few words we have. Short prayers also have the power to shift our mindset in an instant. When negativity, fear, or doubt creeps in, speaking a short prayer can redirect our thoughts. Instead of dwelling on stress, you can say, "God, give me peace." Instead of letting fear take over, you can whisper, "I trust you." Instead of feeling lost, you can say, "Show me the way." These small, simple prayers have the ability to transform your perspective and bring immediate comfort. In our fast-paced world where people are constantly on the move, short prayers make it possible to stay spiritually connected without interruption. You don't have to wait for the perfect moment to pray. You can talk to God anywhere. While driving, in a meeting, during a workout, or even while doing household chores. A few words spoken in faith can shift the atmosphere of any situation. Short prayers also teach us to rely on God in every moment. When you develop the habit of praying short prayers throughout the day, you begin to see how God moves in every detail of your life. You start noticing His hand in the small things, and your faith grows stronger. Prayer becomes less of a formal event and more of a natural part of your daily life. It becomes a lifestyle rather than a routine. One of the greatest benefits of short prayers is that they eliminate the excuse of not having time to pray. Many people struggle with prayer because they feel they are too busy. But a short prayer takes only seconds. It removes the barrier of time and allows you to stay connected to God no matter how packed your schedule is. Even in the busiest moments, you can still pray. And when you do, you'll find that God is always listening. Short prayers also remind us of our dependence on God. They keep us humble and aware that we need Him in every aspect of our lives. When we acknowledge Him throughout the day, we develop a heart that is constantly seeking His presence. And when we seek Him, we find Him. Ultimately, short prayers are a reminder that God is always near. You don't have to go through a long process to reach Him. He is not distant or difficult to access. He is as close as your next breath, always ready to listen and respond. The power of short prayer lies in its simplicity, its sincerity, and its ability to instantly connect you to the one who loves you unconditionally. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, uncertain, or in need of strength, don't worry about finding the perfect words. Just speak from your heart. A simple "God help me" or "thank you" can open the door to peace, guidance, and transformation. Because in the end, it's not about the length of the prayer, it's about the faith behind it. And faith, no matter how small, moves mountains. Many people hesitate to pray because they think their words are too simple or insignificant. They believe that if they don't use the right phrases or spend enough time in prayer, God won't hear them. But the truth is, God listens to every prayer, no matter how short. Even the smallest, simplest prayer, spoken from the heart, reaches Him. Think about the way we communicate with those closest to us. A single word from a loved one can carry deep meaning. A brief "I love you" can brighten someone's day. A quick "I'm here for you" can bring comfort in times of trouble. In the same way, our short prayers, even if they are just a few words, have the power to reach the heart of God. It's not about the length of the prayer, but the sincerity behind it. There are moments in life when we don't have time to pray at length. Emergencies happen, fear grips our hearts, and we are left with nothing but a few words to cry out for help. And yet, even in those moments, God hears us. A whispered "God help me" in a time of danger is just as powerful as a long prayer spoken in a quiet room. In the Bible, we see many examples of short prayers that changed lives. When Peter was walking on water and started to sink, he didn't have time for a long, formal prayer. He simply cried out, "Lord, save me," and immediately Jesus reached out His hand and pulled him to safety. That short prayer was enough, because it was filled with faith. It was enough because God was already listening, ready to respond. There are countless testimonies of people who have experienced the power of short prayers in their own lives. A soldier in battle, whispering "protect me" and coming home unharmed. A mother praying "heal my child" and witnessing a miraculous recovery. A man about to make a life-changing decision saying "guide me" and receiving the clarity he needed. These are not coincidences. They are proof that God hears even the smallest cries of our hearts. Short prayers also remind us that we don't need to impress God with our words. Some people believe that only long, eloquent prayers are effective. They think that unless they use the right words, their prayers won't be answered. But God is not looking for perfection. He is looking for sincerity. A simple "thank you" from the heart is more powerful than a long-winded prayer that lacks faith. When we understand that God hears every prayer, no matter how short, it frees us from the pressure of having to pray in a certain way. We don't have to wait for the right moment, the right words, or the right environment. We can pray anytime, anywhere, and know that God is listening. Whether we are in a car, at work, or in the middle of a conversation, we can send up a short prayer and trust that it reaches Him. Short prayers also help us develop a habit of constant communication with God. Instead of seeing prayer as something we do only in the morning or at night, we begin to see it as an ongoing conversation. Throughout the day, we can lift up small prayers, prayers of gratitude, prayers for guidance, prayers for strength. And the more we do this, the more we realize that God is with us in every moment. Some of the most powerful prayers are just a few words long. Lord, have mercy. Give me peace. Show me the way. These short prayers have been spoken by countless believers throughout history, and they have never lost their power. They remind us that God is always near, always listening, always ready to respond. Short prayers are also effective because they come from a place of desperation and faith. When we are in trouble, we don't have time to overthink our words. We speak from the heart, and those prayers carry a raw sincerity that moves the heart of God. A simple "help me" can be more powerful than a carefully crafted speech, because it comes from a place of deep need. When we make short prayers a habit, we begin to see how much God is involved in our daily lives. We start to notice His presence in the little things. A quick prayer for patience helps us handle a difficult situation with grace. A short prayer for wisdom helps us make the right decision. A simple "thank you" keeps our hearts filled with gratitude. These small prayers create a rhythm of faith that keeps us connected to God throughout the day. Many people struggle with prayer because they feel like they don't have enough time, but a short prayer takes only a few seconds. It removes the excuse of being too busy. It reminds us that we don't need a perfect setting or a large chunk of time to connect with God. A simple prayer in the middle of a hectic day is just as meaningful as a long one in a quiet place. Another reason why short prayers are so powerful is that they help us stay focused. Sometimes when we try to pray for a long time, our minds start to wander. We get distracted by our thoughts, our worries, and the things around us. But a short prayer is direct and to the point. It allows us to focus on God without getting lost in distractions. Short prayers also teach us to trust God more. When we lift up a short prayer, we are acknowledging that we need Him in every moment. We are putting our faith in Him, believing that He hears us, even when we don't have many words to say. And when we see how He responds to even our shortest prayers, our faith grows stronger. Life is unpredictable. One moment everything seems fine, and the next, a challenge arises that shakes your peace. In these moments, stress, anxiety, and fear can overwhelm you. Your mind races, your heart pounds, and you may feel lost. But there is something powerful that can immediately bring calm, clarity, and strength. A short prayer. Short prayers provide instant access to strength and peace because they connect you to the source of all peace, God. When you whisper a prayer, no matter how brief, you are acknowledging that you are not alone. You are inviting divine presence into your situation. You are shifting your focus from the problem to the one who holds the solution. Many people think that prayer must be long and formal to be effective, but the truth is, prayer is not about how many words you say. It's about the faith behind those words. When you pray, "God, give me strength," you are opening the door for supernatural empowerment. When you say, "Lord, give me peace," you are making room for His calming presence to fill your heart. These simple prayers, spoken with faith, have the power to transform any moment. Think about a time when you felt completely overwhelmed. Maybe it was a stressful day at work, an unexpected crisis, or a difficult conversation. In those moments, your emotions can take control. Your thoughts can spiral into worry and fear. But a short prayer can interrupt that cycle. A simple "God help me" can reset your mindset. A whispered "I trust you" can replace anxiety with confidence. One of the greatest examples of the power of short prayers is found in the stories of people who have faced intense challenges. Imagine someone about to walk into a job interview, feeling nervous and uncertain. In that moment, a quick "give me wisdom" can change everything. The person enters with a renewed sense of calm, knowing that they are not alone. Or think of a mother exhausted from caring for her children, feeling like she has nothing left to give. A soft "Lord, give me strength" can provide the energy and patience she needs to keep going. There are countless stories of people who have faced danger and found peace through a short prayer. A driver losing control of their car on an icy road, whispering, "Jesus, take over," and miraculously avoiding an accident. A soldier in a battlefield saying, "Protect me, Lord," and finding himself safe despite the chaos around him. The reason short prayers are so powerful is that they are immediate. You don't have to wait until you have time to sit down and pray for an hour. You don't have to find the perfect words. You can pray at any moment, in any situation, and God hears you. In stressful situations, our bodies react with tension. Our breathing becomes shallow, our muscles tighten, and our minds become clouded with worry. But when you pause and say a short prayer, something shifts. Your breathing slows, your heart steadies, and your mind clears. Science has shown that prayer and meditation have calming effects on the brain, reducing stress and increasing a sense of peace. But beyond science, there is a spiritual truth at work. Prayer connects you with God, and His presence brings peace. Short prayers are also powerful because they remind you of who is in control. When life feels chaotic, it's easy to believe that everything depends on you. You carry the weight of your problems, trying to figure everything out on your own. But the moment you pray, even for a second, you acknowledge that you don't have to do it alone. There is strength in surrender. Saying, "God, I give this to you," is an act of faith. It shifts the burden from your shoulders to His, and when you do that, peace follows. You no longer have to carry the stress of trying to control everything. You can trust that God is working, even when you don't see it. Another reason short prayers provide instant peace and strength is that they align your thoughts with truth. When you are stressed, your mind fills with negative thoughts. "I can't do this. This is too much. What if everything goes wrong?" But a short prayer can break that cycle. When you say, "God is with me," you remind yourself of His presence. When you pray, "Give me peace," you invite His peace to replace your fear. One of the most powerful short prayers you can say is simply "Thank you." Gratitude has a way of shifting your perspective instantly. No matter what you are going through, there is always something to be thankful for. When you choose to focus on gratitude, you find strength in what you already have, rather than worrying about what you lack. Short prayers also keep you connected to God throughout the day. Many people struggle with prayer because they think they need to set aside long periods of time, but short prayers make it possible to stay in constant communication with God. You don't have to wait for a special moment. You can pray while driving, working, walking, or even in the middle of a conversation. Imagine starting your day with a simple prayer. "God, guide me today." Throughout the day, you continue with short prayers. "Give me patience. Help me focus. Bless this meeting. Calm my heart." By the time the day ends, you have been in continuous connection with God. You have built a habit of seeking His presence in every moment. The more you practice short prayers, the more natural they become. Instead of reacting to stress with frustration or fear, your instinct becomes prayer. Instead of worrying, you turn to God. Instead of feeling alone, you remind yourself that He is with you. Short prayers also work because they cut through distractions. Sometimes, when we try to pray for a long time, our minds start to wander. But short prayers keep things simple. They go straight to the point. They allow you to focus on what truly matters in that moment. There is something profoundly beautiful about the simplicity of a short prayer. In a world where everything demands our attention, where distractions are constant, and where time feels like it is always running out, the ability to pray in a few words is a gift. It allows us to stay connected with God without needing a special place, a long list of requests, or the perfect moment. This is why short prayers make it possible to pray without ceasing, because they can be woven seamlessly into the fabric of our daily lives. Many people believe that prayer has to be long to be meaningful. They imagine lengthy sessions of deep reflection, carefully chosen words, and uninterrupted silence. While those moments are valuable, they are not always possible. Life is busy. There are responsibilities, unexpected interruptions, and moments when we simply don't have the time to sit down and pray for hours. But this does not mean we have to disconnect from God. Short prayers allow us to bring God into every moment. They help us turn daily activities into opportunities for prayer. As we wake up, we can whisper, "Thank you for today." Before an important task, we can say, "Give me wisdom." While facing a difficult conversation, we can pray, "Help me speak with kindness." These small moments of prayer transform ordinary tasks into acts of faith. The idea of praying without ceasing might seem overwhelming at first. How can someone pray constantly when they have work to do, people to talk to, and problems to solve? But praying without ceasing is not about spending every second with your eyes closed in deep prayer. It is about keeping your heart in a posture of connection with God throughout the day. It is about developing a habit of turning to Him, no matter where you are or what you are doing. Think about how often we talk to ourselves in our minds. We have a constant inner dialogue, whether we realize it or not. We think about what we need to do, what we are worried about, what we regret, and what we hope for. What if, instead of talking to ourselves, we turn those thoughts into short prayers? Instead of thinking, "I don't know what to do," we can pray, "Guide me, Lord." Instead of worrying, "What if everything goes wrong?" we can say, "I trust you." Instead of dwelling on past mistakes, we can whisper, "Forgive me." This shift is life-changing because it means we are no longer carrying our burdens alone. We are no longer trapped in our thoughts. We are including God in our struggles, our decisions, and our daily experiences. And the more we do this, the more natural it becomes. One of the most powerful aspects of short prayers is that they can be prayed anywhere. We don't have to wait until we are in a church, a quiet room, or a peaceful setting. We can pray while driving, working, walking, or cooking. These short prayers create an ongoing conversation with God, reminding us that He is always near. Imagine a person going through a busy day. They wake up and say, "Thank you, Lord, for another day." As they get ready, they whisper, "Give me patience." Before a meeting, they pray, "Help me focus." When faced with frustration, they say, "Calm my heart." At night, before sleeping, they whisper, "Watch over me." Without realizing it, they have prayed all day long. This is what it means to pray without ceasing. Small, sincere moments of connection with God throughout every part of life. Short prayers also help us remain mindful of God's presence. When we are constantly lifting up quick prayers, we become more aware that God is with us. We don't just think about Him in the morning or at night. We recognize Him in the middle of our day. This awareness changes the way we live. It makes us more patient, more grateful, and more at peace, because we know we are never alone. Another reason why short prayers make it possible to pray without ceasing is that they remove the pressure of prayer. Sometimes people avoid praying because they feel they don't know what to say. They worry that their words are not good enough or that they need to pray in a certain way. But short prayers remind us that prayer is not about perfection. It's about sincerity. God is not looking for impressive words. He is looking for hearts that turn to Him. Whether a prayer is one sentence or 1 hour long, He listens. A simple, "Lord, be with me," is just as meaningful as a long prayer filled with deep theological words. What matters is that we are reaching out to Him. Short prayers also help us during moments of temptation. When we feel the pull toward something we know we shouldn't do, a quick "strengthen me" can make all the difference. When we are tempted to say something unkind, "Help me stay silent" can stop us in our tracks. These small prayers act as reminders to choose what is right, keeping us aligned with God's will. One of the best things about short prayers is that they build intimacy with God over time. Just like in any relationship, small, consistent interactions strengthen the connection. If a friend only talks to you once a month for a long conversation, the relationship may not feel as close as if they checked in with you every day. The same is true with God. When we pray short prayers throughout the day, we are constantly staying connected. building a relationship that is deep and personal. Some of the greatest prayers in history were short. When Jesus was in deep agony before his crucifixion, he prayed, "Not my will, but yours be done." When a tax collector in the Bible wanted to repent, he simply said, "God have mercy on me." When Stephen, the first Christian martyr, was being stoned, he prayed, "Lord, receive my spirit." None of these prayers were long, yet each was powerful. The beauty of short prayers is that they do not require anything except a willing heart. A child can pray a short prayer. A busy worker can pray a short prayer. A tired mother, a struggling student, an elderly person. All can pray without ceasing, because short prayers make it possible. As we embrace short prayers in our daily lives, we begin to experience their impact. We become more peaceful, more aware of God's presence, and more trusting in His plans. We start to see prayer not as a duty, but as a privilege. It is no longer something we struggle to find time for. It becomes something we naturally do, just like breathing. So, as you go about your day, remember that you don't need to wait for the perfect time to pray. You don't need to have the perfect words. A simple "Lord, help me" is enough. A quiet "thank you" brings joy. A whispered "I trust you" strengthens faith. These short prayers, spoken in sincerity, create a life that is constantly connected to God. There are moments in life when words fail, times when the weight of emotions, stress, or uncertainty leaves us feeling unable to express what is in our hearts. It could be a moment of deep sorrow, an overwhelming challenge, or even a time of immense joy when we don't know how to articulate our gratitude. In these moments, short prayers become a bridge between our hearts and God, expressing what words sometimes cannot. Prayer is not just about saying the right things. It is about the connection between our hearts and the divine. There are times when a single word, whispered, thought, or cried out, carries more weight than 1,000 carefully constructed sentences. This is the power of short prayers. They allow us to communicate with God in a way that goes beyond language, reaching into the very core of our souls. Sometimes life moves too fast for long, structured prayers. A sudden crisis, an unexpected event, or an emotional storm can make it difficult to stop and find the right words. But in those moments, a short prayer can be enough. A simple "Help me, Lord" is not just a phrase. It is a cry of the soul. A quiet "Thank you" is not just a word. It is an offering of gratitude that carries deep meaning. There are also times when emotions are too intense for words. Grief, for example, has a way of leaving us speechless. When a loved one is lost, when a heart is broken, or when life takes an unexpected turn, words may feel empty. In those moments, a deep sigh, a single whispered "Jesus," or even silent tears can be a prayer. God understands the language of the heart. He sees beyond words. Even in moments of great joy, words may not be enough. There are times when happiness overwhelms us, and we are so grateful that we don't know how to express it fully. A simple "Thank you, Lord" can hold the weight of a heart overflowing with joy. A quiet smile, a deep breath of appreciation, or even the silent awe of a beautiful sunset can be a prayer of gratitude. Short prayers are also powerful because they allow us to stay in constant communion with God, even when we are unable to find the right words. Prayer is not just about asking for things. It is about relationship. It is about being aware of God's presence in every moment of life. When words fail, short prayers keep us connected. There are moments when we are overwhelmed by our own mistakes. Guilt, shame, or regret can make it hard to approach God. In those moments, a short prayer like "Forgive me" can be the first step toward healing. It does not take long, complicated words to find grace. A sincere heart, even with a few words, is enough for God to respond. Short prayers also remind us that God already knows what we need before we even say it. Sometimes we struggle to find the right words because we think we need to explain everything in detail. But God sees the heart. He understands the pain behind a whispered "help." He knows the meaning of a quiet "be with me." Even when all we can do is sit in silence, He hears the prayer within. One of the greatest examples of short prayers in the Bible comes from Peter. when he was walking on water toward Jesus and began to sink, he didn't have time for a long, detailed prayer. He simply cried out, "Lord, save me." And immediately, Jesus reached out his hand and lifted him up. That moment shows that God does not require lengthy prayers to act. A desperate cry, a whispered request, or a silent longing is enough. In moments of fear, short prayers bring immediate comfort. When anxiety grips the heart, when uncertainty fills the mind, a simple, "I trust you," can shift everything. Fear thrives on uncertainty, but faith, even in its simplest form, has the power to calm the storm inside us. A quiet "God is with me" can silence the loudest doubts. When life is chaotic and we are overwhelmed with responsibilities, short prayers help us stay centered. A quick "Give me strength" in the middle of a stressful day can remind us that we are not carrying our burdens alone. A whispered "Peace, Lord," in the midst of a storm can bring clarity. These short prayers are like anchors, keeping us steady when life tries to pull us in 100 directions. Short prayers are also an act of surrender. Sometimes we do not have the answers. We do not know what the future holds. In those moments, saying "Your will be done" is a way of letting go and trusting that God is in control. It is a reminder that we do not have to figure everything out on our own. Surrender does not mean defeat. It means trusting in something greater than ourselves. There is also a deep humility in short prayers. They remind us that we do not have to impress God with long, eloquent speeches. We do not have to perform. We simply need to come as we are. A child's simple "Help me" is just as powerful as the most carefully crafted prayer from a scholar. God does not look at the length of our prayers. He looks at the sincerity of our hearts. Short prayers also create a rhythm of gratitude in our lives. When we get into the habit of praying small, simple prayers throughout the day, we start to see the little blessings we often overlook. A short "thank you" when we wake up, a quiet "bless this meal" before eating, a whispered "guide me" before making a decision. These small moments shape our perspective. They remind us that every part of life, even the ordinary, is an opportunity to connect with God. Short prayers also work in times of exhaustion. There are moments when we are too tired, too drained, too worn out to pray for long. In those moments, a simple "Give me rest" is enough. A quiet "Hold me" is enough. God does not need us to be at our best to hear us. Even when we have nothing left to give, He listens. There is a reason why some of the most well-known prayers are so short. The Lord's Prayer, though deeply meaningful, is simple and concise. The prayer of the tax collector, "God, have mercy on me," was enough to change his life. The words "It is finished," spoken by Jesus on the cross, held more power than any lengthy speech ever could. These examples remind us that the power of a prayer is not in its length but in its sincerity. Short prayers are a gift because they remind us that God is always near. We do not have to search for the perfect moment to pray. We do not have to wait until we have the right words. We can turn to Him in an instant, in any situation, and He will hear us. So, when you don't know what to say, when words fail you, when emotions are too strong, remember that short prayers are enough. A simple "Be with me" holds incredible power. A quiet "I trust you" can change your heart. A whispered "Thank you" can open the door to peace. God is not far away. He is always listening, always ready to respond. Whether your prayer is long or short, spoken or silent, He hears you. And sometimes the most powerful prayers are the ones that take only a moment to say. Because it's not about the words, it's about the connection. And in that connection, you will find peace, strength, and the assurance that you are never alone.